Welcome you all to this webinar. It is an honor for us, me and Anish, to host this first webinar. We think this is the first of many initiatives to come in the future under this recent cooperation protocol between Nova, University of Lisbon, and SENAI, CIMATEC. University Center. This is the full name. So we are glad to say that we were able to attract the attention of many people, but we have around 25 participants on this webinar from companies and from academia, from Portugal, Brazil, Greece, India, Iran. So thank you all for your interest. Of course, by this, we are looking forward to meet your expectation with this webinar, but also to assess future hypotheses of cooperation with you all. So on this topic of immersive technologies for industrial training, perhaps Anish wants to say something and to introduce our speakers.
Thank you, Thiago. So for those that who don't know us already, so both Thiago and myself, we are professors at the Nova University in Lisbon, Portugal, because we have many guests also internationally. And so a bit about, so my background is on integration of emerging technologies within the digital platform space. So it is from that interest that I have developed quite a keen interest in the extended realities. And as we know that this is one area that has a lot of potential to grow. Me and Thiago, it's been some time that we've been starting to explore. And we have our dear friend Jill in this channel. So this all started with discussions with Jill about how can we start developing this extended reality concept for helping training in the industries, because there are certain areas of the plants that it's very hard to actually go physically, and such simulated environments can give a very realistic experience. But then there was a challenge that we identified, that building such models and building such simulations is very time consuming. It's quite expensive. And that's one of the reasons why this hasn't really caught on to the scope and scale where it could have. And we are seeing some trends over here. We can clearly see that the glasses and the quality of the VR glasses and AR glasses has been steadily improving. And it was around that time that we connected with Dr. Ingrid Winkler from SENAI CIMATEC in Brazil, and she introduced us to this wonderful panel. Dr. Ingrid, I'll just soon pass on the word for you, but just to summarize on that. So we thought that it would be great to start off our collaboration and exploration with this webinar, and through this webinar we can also connect with all of you, because ultimately this is a very emerging area of research. And Dr. Ingrid, as you can see from her profile, is quite well versed in this area of immersive digital reality. She's also hosting an NVIDIA AI Tech Center at SENAI CIMATEC in Brazil. And then we have also on our panels today Andre Cordeiro, who is from Instituto de Tecnologia Farmacêutica, and then Tulio Culeto, who is an innovation manager at Bosch Brazil. So we have a great panel of industry and academic speakers. So we will pass on, and all of them will be giving a presentation. After that, we will have a time for question and answers and discussions. So I'll pass on the baton without wasting more time to Dr. Ingrid. Thank you, Dr. Ingrid, and thank you very much for participating today.
Hi, Professor Anish, Professor Thiago. Thank you very much for having us. It's a great audience. I can see people from all over the world. Thank you so much for your time here. We're very enthusiastic to exchange knowledge with you about our passion and about our research and projects using immersive technologies for industrial training. So I'll share my screen in a minute. Okay. In a minute. Okay. I think you can see my screen now. So Professor Anishi, Professor Thiago, they mentioned that we're from Brazil. So I put a little red dot because sometimes people don't know how far Brazil is from Europe and from Asia, but we're very close in this kind of collaboration with NOVA and other universities. So we're far in the map, but physically, but we're very close in virtual reality. Not virtual reality right now, maybe in the next webinar we can meet in virtual reality. How about that? So, okay. So we're from, I'm from SENAI CIMATEC, the university in Brazil, and we have this lab, this research group at CIMATEC. We have a lot of partners and with universities all over the world, and including NOVA. And we have this lab, and we study and research, and we develop projects to understand how extended reality can contribute to industrial innovation and to have a more sustainable production. So I'm the PI, the principal investigator, and I work with my colleague Thiago Murari. I won't bother you with my credentials. You can connect with me in my LinkedIn profile. So I'll talk a little bit about our lab. What do? We identify XR, extended reality roadmaps, because decision makers and researchers sometimes, or not sometimes, but very often, they don't know how to use, how to deploy and employ the technologies for digital transformation and for sustainable production. Because we have this example of one of our activities. We test, we investigate, we explore the different devices, different solutions, different platforms of virtual, augmented, extended, mixed reality, metaverse, spatial computing. In fact, we're using a lot of terms, a lot of names, and sometimes we are referring to similar technology. I'll approach that question here. And we make technology transfer at the same time that we produce scientific knowledge. And this is some of our use cases. I'll talk about some use case here. Because we explore in this webinar the opportunities on using these immersive technologies for a human-centric, towards a human-centric industry 5.0. And we will approach particularly the trainings opportunities. So before we start to explore the opportunities and the use cases, I'll talk a little bit about the difference or the similarities between these concepts: virtual reality and augmented reality, metaverse, extended reality, and now spatial computing, right? So a little bit of building blocks. So the virtual reality, in the virtual reality experience, you feel very immersed. You feel very engaged in a full simulated world, because the computer will render an environment, and you feel immersive. You'll forget that you're there. You know, when people they take off the head-mounted displays, the goggles, the VR goggles, they say, "Wow, I forgot I was here in this physical reality, in this objective reality. I thought I have the illusion." The illusion is a very good word for virtual reality because it means presence. I feel immersed. I had the illusion that I was in another place. So that's a very good experience. When the people experience the virtual reality, they say that they forgot where they are. Augmented reality, or sometimes they say mixed reality, that is not important for us here. The details, the difference, that are little difference, small difference, but we want deep dive in this, because in general, the augmented and mixed reality will mix, how the term says, the physical reality, we say the objective reality, this actual reality, with some virtual elements. So here you can see the difference in these pictures. This is the augmented reality experience. So you have these virtual elements, and they're mixing, they are augmenting the objective reality. But here we have this is a very good platform. They say glue. By the way, we don't have a commitment with any particular platform. We test and we experiment all of their solutions, because we need to understand which solutions will be better, will be suitable for that specific case that we are researching or developing a project or R&D project. So in this case, you see in the Glue platform, the users are collaborating in a full immersive environment. So we can say that here you have a virtual reality experience. And here is the augmented reality or mixed reality experience. And in general, I say in general because these terms, they are under dispute right now. Sometimes the companies will use the term mixed reality when they are referring to augmented reality, because the companies, you know, sometimes the big techs, they don't want to adopt the same term, the same word that another company will use. We discuss it a little bit more when we approach the metaverse term. So the extended reality in general, XR, it's a broader term. It's like an umbrella term that will comprise virtual reality and augmented reality and mix and all over the other similar terms. And how about the metaverse? So the metaverse, we have this article in the SAA magazine. The Tulio Coleto is also a co-author, is also a collaborator. And we approach the industrial metaverse term and how the contributions for the industry 4.0 and 5.0. And the metaverse, it's a little bit broader because the metaverse does not exist yet. We are towards, we are getting the metaverse. They say maybe in 5 years, 10 years, we don't know, because the metaverse will be a convergence, will mix, will blend a lot of disruptive technologies like IoT, Internet of Things, AI, and XR, extended reality, and blockchain, and we will have identity, and we have currency, and it's like a full virtual world connected. And when we say industrial metaverse, we say that the companies, that industrial organizations are already deploying solutions using some of those blended technology. So maybe you sometime you heard that metaverse flopped, or metaverse is dead, or metaverse didn't work, because some companies, some technology players don't want to use the word metaverse, the term, because metaverse is it was used by the Meta company in their rebranding. So sometimes other technology players are converging this technology, but they won't use the word and the term metaverse. They say the M word. So they will use other names, but not the metaverse. So I'll bring some cases and some examples. We developed these cases, and I will approach how the virtual reality, or augmented reality, or mixed reality helped us to achieve our objective, our goal. So in this case, we developed a Whirlpool company. Maybe you know the company that manufacture appliances and among others. So we developed this virtual reality experience about maybe 5 years, and I'm using I brought this 5-year case because to show that we are studying, we and the industrial organizations are researching and studying this for many years now. So we developed this experience to understand how the designers and engineers could interact in this virtual reality world, this virtual reality experience. And we use this particular head-mounted display, and we understood the opportunities and challenges, because we have challenges, right? I'll approach the challenge in the end of my talk. We have some heavy head-mounted displays. Sometimes the usability is not so good yet, but we are towards this. So we adopt these solutions. So in this case, we were very successful because designers are very meticulous professionals, and sometimes they don't want to replace their physical prototypes for virtual reality-based prototypes. And in this case, they told us, yeah, you know, I would replace, I might use some virtual reality-based prototypes to conduct our analysis, our review. So it's a victory because the designs are they will look for details, they will look for the images and maybe the sounds and how this particular refrigerator will behave in the virtual reality, if it will behave similar to a physical prototype refrigerator. And we have this very successful project developed. And this is another project that's a very good example of the use of the virtual reality-based prototypes for conduct usability testing. This is not an industrial training. This is not a training. This is an actual usability testing. So this is a master's degree candidate. I supervised his project. Now he is a master, and he worked for Ford. And he is an ergonomist, and he used it to conduct for about 18 years. They use it to conduct his usability testing like this. He used a physical vehicle, an actual vehicle, to conduct the usability testing of, for example, in this case, of the touch screen, the center of the vehicle. And he proposed that, what if we use the virtual reality to conduct this kind of usability testing? And you know, he developed this experiment. It was about 5 years ago, so we have much better resolution and experiments right now. And it was very successful because we don't have any physical interaction here. It's only virtual reality. It's only a virtual reality-based prototype. And the participants of the test said, yeah, I feel immersed. When I touched the button of the radio, I didn't remember that it was virtual. I hear the music, and this is the first project. We published our results, and then Fabio Freitas is his name. He has a very interesting gallery, and because it's a large team now using virtual reality for a lot of tests. So they're using in this example. So in this example, they're replicating. They are they are using their previous experience with the actual vehicle, but they're replicating. But in this case, no, they developed an experiment, usability testing of something that does not exist yet. So they're studying the usability of autonomous bus for people who use wheelchair. So their team are conducting the usability testing here, and the autonomous bus for these wheelchair people does not exist yet. So they can try these different challenges and opportunities, and they can change the project during they can change the product being developed during the actual development. So they call it simultaneous engineering. You can do both at the same time. And this is another master degree candidate at the time. He works for Ford also. We have a very good partnership with Ford, so we have a lot of master degrees and PhD candidates from Ford, and we developed this analysis of ergonomic assessment of future workstation. So they were developing this new vehicle model, and at the same time they're already studying how will be the ergonomic issues and the ergonomic feasibility of our future workstation. The workstation don't exist when I publish our results. And this is another case from she's a master right now, Yolanda Chamusca, and she proposed, what if we use we replace the conventional modeling process for immersive modeling. So they're using here their head-mounted display at her studio to interact with designers from all over the world, from Ford studio, and they are conducting a 3D modeling, immersive, not in the conventional 3D flat screen. And it was very successful. And now we have, we're developing this project. He's a PhD candidate. And in fact, we are developing with Continental Marlboro, I think. It's in, the factory is in the Porto region, I think. So they asked us to study. This is not their process. We can show their process. It's very confidential, but it will be to illustrate that we are studying how the video we call the immersive videos in VR, they can replace, they can benefit the factory tours. So this is a good example. And what I ask you here is to think, to ponder how this kind of video, and you can see all the elements that we have in their physical process. So how the immersive video and immersive factory tour benefits their process. So the person will use the head-mounted display in any country, any place in the world to experiment. We're adopting the term, it's a very interesting word, not the storytelling anymore, not to tell a story, but to live a story. So they say story living. We will story live this experience. So we use the immersion and the immersion and the illusion properties and features to conduct these factory tours and the industrial training, because now we're talking about industrial training. And this is a brand new project, not the project itself, but the approach. We are developing with the Lucas Gregory is a PhD candidate, and will work with the NOVA in this project, and the Professor Thiago Silva co-supervised this project. And here you can see an immersive training. So it's an example. Lucas works for Ion VR, and they are using the properties, the features, the benefits of the virtual reality to bring this concept for this training. So you can evaluate, you can assess the knowledge transfer, and you can have different degrees of complexity and degrees of interacting with the training. So and I brought this example so you can see and you can compare and you can think about the difference between an immersive video and a 3D model training, because we can have these options. And of course, we will think about and we will examine the costs, the knowledge transfer, and the interaction degree. So, this is another interesting case. It is a digital twin of this NTU University. We developed with NTU and it published our results. And NTU is they're celebrating that they are in the 15 rank. They're ranked in the 15 top universities in the world. So you can visit the NTU Universe, their campus, but this is not just a visualization. This is a digital twin. So they have their twin. They have the campus, physical campus, and they have the digital campus, and they're using this digital campus to plan. For example, they'll have train stations there, and they're using their digital twin to plan, to simulate, to understand, and to project the train stations that will cross their campus. And here we have a lot of opportunity. We have another opportunity. And the PhD Fabian, and he works for Fiocruz. Fiocruz is a large institution in Brazil, and André Cordeiro will talk a little bit about Fiocruz. And she's studying, and she is developing a model to understand how the virtual meetings, like Zoom meetings, like our webinar, how can we replace, and the benefits and the challenges of replacing this for this. So we will interact using our goggles. She's trying to understand because sometimes it's better to use the like a virtual conference, but sometimes and very often is better to use to interact in the immersive environment. And I want to talk about the research conducted by Andrea Cordeiro. He will talk about to you. And so we have these cases, and what's next, I want to invite you because we will discuss this a lot in our workshop. We'll conduct a workshop in the International Conference on Artificial Intelligence and XR in the beautiful Lisbon city in January. So we invite you to join us. Professor Tiago will be there. It's an organizer, and we have NVIDIA and our partners in Brazil, in Singapore. So we invite you to join us, and we'll have a call for papers very soon. And how about the benefits and opportunities, but how about the challenges? So when you develop, when you plan, when you think about to have a immersive industrial training, I recommend you that think about some elements. They are very important elements. So about the degree of immersion, because we saw the immersive videos or the 3D models, and we have a lot of kinds and brands and models of head-mounted displays. So we'll have to consider the some aspects like the usability and cost of these devices, and if you have the body tracking, the person, the user, the worker will feel immersed with the whole body, because we saw the glue platform. Sometimes you won't have your whole body, and sometimes this will this will influence your degree of immersion, because you remember, we want the people, we want the user, we want the worker to feel completely full immersive, full eluded, and we'll consider the sense of presence is very important in virtual reality and XR. And about the engagement, because when people feel immersed, they're more engaged. And the research, the current knowledge show us that the people more engaged, the trainee, the worker being trained, will be more focused, because in virtual reality, for example, you won't have the distractions of the physical reality, of the actual reality objective. So if you're interacting with your colleague from another country or from another place, and you're using your head-mounted display, it's very likely that you're be more focused than using the virtual video conference. And how about the degree of interaction? You have to consider if your user will visualize, just visualize, and it's a good strategy if you're immersed, or if you have some degree of interaction. So the person, the trainee, will interact with the elements of this virtual or extended reality. So they will take some objects and put in another place. This is an interaction, not just the visualization. So it's important to consider. It is very important to consider the ergonomics and usability, because head-mounted displays, sometimes they will be heavy. It's like it will be not so comfortable to wear, to experience them. So we'll have to consider. your trainee will use for half an hour or 2 hours. It's very important. And how about the knowledge transfer? Is important because, for example, Tulio Coleto and Andrea Cordeiro will approach the question of knowledge transfer. So particularly Andrea will say about the risky training, safety trainings, and it is important to guarantee that the trainee have the knowledge and they trained in this particular risky situation. And then, of course, you have the cost-effective element. You will choose between some models and brands of devices and solutions and platforms. So it is an important element. And so I'm curious to hear you about the development and your ideas about VR, AR, and metaverse-based trainings. And we will use them to have a more human-centric Industry 5.0. So thank you very much. This is my contacts. I'm enthusiastic to hear from you about your ideas.
Thank you, Dr. Ingrid. In fact, your session really inspired me to, because it seemed I could remember certain elements of certain science fiction movies that I have seen in the past and how the future could shape. Before we go on, to bring some interactivity, we can have maybe 1 or 2 quick questions and then we'll move on to the next speaker. So anyone has any questions, please, you may ask.
I might have one if it's possible.
Yes, please.
Do you hear me? Is it okay?
Yes.
My question is, I am from University of Aveiro and I'm working also in virtual and augmented reality. We've been doing some prototypes as well. And I feel it very difficult to jump from the prototype to real use in the industry. So the idea that I have is the industry is interesting. They like the prototypes, but when we came to starting buying the hardware and using it really on their life in the industry, it's very difficult. And I would like to know if you also feel that, and if you already have some prototypes that have jumped to real applications that are actually used in the industry.
It's a very good question. It's a very good question. We have both experience. We have the experience of the prototype, virtual prototype, that works very well, and then we replace the experiment, the physical prototype in some stage of the product life cycle. For example, when you use when it's visual, when the analysis, the review is more about the visualizing the product and the colors and maybe the light and how the refraction. This is a good potential for virtual reality. So virtual reality, you be a good opportunity to replace the physical prototype. But we know that when you have to touch the product, for example, the designers of the appliance company Whirlpool, they want to hear the sound of the engine. I don't know if the name is the engine of the refrigerator, and the sound is good. The sound is a very good, it's very elaborated in virtual reality experience. But when they need to open the door, they need to feel the door, because it's very important for this review for them. This is not so good. And in the automotive industry, we tried some market research. In the market research, the potential customer will analyze the several car models. It's a car clinic, automotive clinic. And they say that's good for visualize the lines of the car and the design of the car, the colors, but it's not so good to feel like when you have to feel the fabric of the bench, because it's very subtle, you know. So to this tactile experience, the virtual reality is not so good yet. They're trying the gloves, they're trying different solutions. And an interesting solution is to elude from the visual. You use the visual to to mimic the experience of touching or hear something. It's very interesting. I'm curious about your research, about your experiments, and we can exchange some information later. I know the work from Aveiro, and it's very interesting. Thank you for your question.
Okay, thanks.
Right.
Yes, Ingrid, I would like to take this opportunity. First of all, looking forward to meeting you later when you will be in Portugal. As Anish has mentioned, we have been put in contact because there is a very large interest in our company to develop some products specifically for the glass industry. And we are believers that, you know, virtual reality can be a tremendous potentiator of training, especially training the new generations, training very high rotation people, because today, you know, people are not staying in the companies for the tenures that they used to stay. So, you know, we need fast systems to train. So taking on the question that Paulo Diaz has placed, the question would be, if you look at a working environment, which is essentially of machines, so, you know, with the moving parts, with thermal processes, with you know, it's not so much about touching the fabric of a car. It's not very much about having the actual sensation of the real experience of touching a product, but it's more the experience of what happens if I press this button? What happens if I change this setting? And what is the effect of these actions into what happens in the process? What happens to the product? What happens to the quality of the product? So we're very interested in moving in this space. We believe there's a tremendous market for this. And as a company, we are very experienced in the technical aspects of the glass industry, also the plastics, but very much of the glass industry. And we would like to leverage on this knowledge to help create these products. So that's the question, is how much more feasible is the application I've just mentioned versus what you were answering to Paulo about, you know, your experiences with, for example, the automotive industry. And thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for the question. So you stimulated us to conduct this webinar, right? I would say that your case, it's much more promising for virtual reality, because you're trying to you change the conditions of the experience to understand the impact, the influence. So this is very good for virtual reality, because when you're developing, when you're conducting, when you're experience this environment, you can change we can change everything. You can change and you can change in the current experience, and you can understand the reactions. So not just the automotive industry, they are using a lot virtual reality and augmented reality, of course, but other industries are also using this. I refer to simultaneous engineering, but not just the engineering. You could use simultaneous training, because you can change the conditions during the experience. So I'll use the glass example. So you can change the color, and you can change when the person in experience the environment, you can have the developer, and you can have the person, the manager, changing the conditions, and then you can say, you know, you can ask, it's better now or is worse now, and how do you feel now with this color, and how you feel at night, and how you feel in the day, and how you feel if you were in Mars. And so you can change and this is I'll say that this is probably the great potential of virtual reality right now with the devices, with the technology we have right now, is the illusion feature, the illusion benefit, and the benefit of changing the conditions during the experience to understand the reaction of the person, the team who is immersive.
Thank you, Dr. Ingrid. We can, in the end, if we have Tiago, you want to say something?
I want to add this. Fortunately, we had the chance to bring some people also from, not from engineering, but from image. So we have here people attending who produce content in our as kind of movies for explaining phenomena and processes, and also people from statistics in sports gluing virtual elements in television, for instance. So this could enrich very much this kind of discussion, where we want to mix, as Ingrid showed us, some physical 360 degrees videos with some CAD elements, which is more prone to show exactly the process and the moving parts and in a safely, because we want to not to feel the glass, molded glass. So we want to not to feel this. Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Thank you, Tiago. I'll invite Tulio to have the stage. Tulio, thank you for your participation.
Thank you. So it's a pleasure to be here, and a nice, really thank you for the invitation to be part of this discussion. So I will share my screen. I have a presentation. It's not really short one, but I will try to be really fast. But I would say that it would be really nice to have some of what Ingrid bring to this discussion. In the industrial way. Just a second, I will try to share.
Just to add, in terms of schedule, we are a bit delayed. So I think the discussion is very fruitful. So we will keep on with the presentations and with the discussion. And we are sorry for this delay.
Okay, let me know when you are seeing my screen.
But we will be sharing the video recording also with all the participants.
Are you seeing my screen? Yeah, the slide?
Yes, please. Yes, please. Continue.
Okay, good. So I just skip the mini curriculum here, and then I go directly to the topics. So for this presentation, so I needed to bring some of the context that we are. So Ingrid told about what is happening, related to the technologies that are being part of the metaverse. So currently we have Web3 and we have extended reality, and we are talking about now immersive computing. And then for sure, most of those technologies are the metaverse. And then I would say that maybe some of do not really like the name Meta, because it's inappropriately taken by the one company. But in the end, the whole technology that we have available are part of the industrial matters now. Digital identity, NFT, digital twin, low code and no code for virtualization platforms. We have the virtual reality, augmented reality, mobile AR. So we have a lot of technologies, and those technologies are the metaverse. And when we talk about the metaverse, the benefits are there. In fact, we are living in a social way, in a retail way. So you can just try before buy, and for sure inside of the industrial. We currently are designing, we are developing, and we are testing products using technologies that are part of the metaverse or part of the immersive computing now. And for sure, we have a really, I would say that a big link of enterprise it, because we are enhanced business productivity, considering technologies that are available today. Yeah. So, and when we look at the economic context, this is something that are being reported by MIT in one of their reviews. So we have a really a big number for market projection, considering, for example, the industrial. Yeah. So with simulated machines, factories, transport networks, and some other complex systems that are being part of the enable real world problems to be solved. Yeah. And for sure, looking for the how much money or how many money we are having available there for enterprise, considering the immersive business collaboration, for example. Yeah. And when we look directly for the industrial context, so the metaverse, the industrial metaverse refers to the application of a metaverse concept within the industry. It represents a revolution in how companies can interact with data, machinery, products, and even with workforce. So, and then this is just a short list of possibilities, considering production simulation, training, education, design collaboration, remote maintenance, supply chain integration, product customization, IoT, connectivity, marketing, sales, human-robot interaction, sustainability, and modeling. So this is just a short list. For sure, then you can deploy a little bit more the opportunities that we have considering the industrial context. And then we can go a little bit what my company, Bosch, is doing. Yeah. So I brought to this discussion some of topics and some of trends that we have inside. Yeah. One of them is the Bosch digital manufacturing. So this is you can see here some reference photos that are available to put the whole company inside of a virtual environment. Yeah. So you take pictures from the existing machines, you take the whole project that you are used to build up those machines, and then you can enhance the real world, using a system. For example, we use the Omniverse from NVIDIA, to build up a virtual environment. And when you are there inside of the virtual environment, then you can have a lot of, I would say that, discussions related, for example, to occupants or productivity or logistics or supply chain, prediction of material, position of those machineries, amortization. You can just walk into the manufacturing, checking what is happening there, and improvements or available productivity area, and a lot of topics that would be easily being part of the discussions, considering big number of people being involved and so on. So this is one of the discussions that we are having currently. Yeah. So then you can see, for example, considering that those robots are picking solutions. For example, you can immediately using the virtual environment to make their program. Considering low code or even no code programs for those machineries. Yeah. We have also another initiative, name is Bosch Maps. Yeah, the idea here is to have a set of companies. So we have a lot of divisions inside of Bosch, but one of the divisions, they have started this early, I would say that early investigation on virtualization, where they are having the whole sites of this division inside of an app. Yeah, because they just build up an app, Bosch Maps, and that allows the user can dive and in few clicks they can access information from the production floor or some of other information for the site, for example, with temperature or, for example, environment, the weather, and any other that is possible, considering that you have just in a app real situation, real status of those manufacturers. And then I brought here some pictures that and how we did it. In fact, we have used these NavVis here to map and make pictures, point cloud pictures, and then we have enhanced those, optimized it in a system, and then in the end we have a really good precision of the environment available inside of this app, considering the whole manufacturer. So this is it's what is nice is that let you with a lot of available features that was never thought before. Then for sure that increase the productivity and also efficiency, and also then you can predict better routes for the logistic, or even considering sorry, let me back to the presentation. And even considering, for example, stats of the production. This is, we have a little bit more. You can see here, you can see here a real picture, and then you have here the picture in Omniverse, that was optimized, enhanced for the existing ones. So here in Brazil, we have also a digital manufacturing and also digital mockup that I'll bring to you. So digital manufacturing using a plant simulation, it's a really low, it's not a high-end solution, but it's something that, considering the current status of virtualization, would support us also on discussion related to occupants, discussions related to the supply chain, the material forecast, the energy costs. So by delivering digital twins, it facilitates the efficient and flexible manufacturing and reducing production costs, shortening time to market, and so on. So this is something that are really being well applied, and would bring a lot of benefits for the industry overall. And the digital mockup, so here I brought a picture. I brought a picture, where you can see here that discussions is happening related to a product, considering known existing real assembly benches. So the guy here, is just evaluating if how to handle the part, how to put it in a bench to be assembled or to be tested, and would support discussions related to the FIMEA or PFIMEA, and even the planning guidelines for customer projects. So this is also something that is currently happening, and it takes in the end we have a really saving a lot of time for that, because normal way is to spend a lot of time trying to see what would be an effect of the product in the line, and then using a digital twin or digital mockup, then you can immediately see the effects of your product or your development in the assembly line. And in the end, for sure, considering the whole discussions related to the training and related to meet the other, or related to have a different environment than, for example, the current ones for discussions, I brought also the corporate metaverse. So for sure, we know that today it's a new normal, people have spent a lot of time inside of meetings, discussions, virtual discussions. And here is an example of how we can let it a little bit better, not just considering health, but considering a collaborating environment for discussion, for sure. Yeah, then I would say thank you. This is the whole material that I brought for this discussion today, and I'm open for some questions.
Tulio, thank you for bringing the company's perspective. I think it was a very good compliment to what Dr. Ingrid presented, more from an academic perspective. So we'll just have one question for you before we move on to our final speaker. So anyone who has a question for Tulio, please go ahead.
May I? Hello. Good afternoon.
Go ahead. Yes.
Hello.
Good afternoon, everyone, and good morning for you in Brazil. I'd like to know, Tulio, what kind of LMS or platform do you use to make the training, and how is the process to export the 3D image that you capture to the students or the participants? How they do that in the practice? And thank you.
Yeah, for the training, yeah, we are in fact it's not really available right now for the whole company, but we have some specific areas that are doing using some NVIDIA as a partner for sure, yeah, and creating a specific environment developed inside of Bosch, yeah. So this is yeah, the Bosch have this. This is I would say that culture from Bosch that they prefer to use partners and normally to build up their own platforms. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah, right now it's in test for sure that we have those, yeah, the training are doing in a normal way, but some specific areas they are testing solutions created internally by Bosch. Yeah.
Thank you, Tulio. So over to Andre, who is our last speaker. Andre, if it's possible, I know it's a request, but if it's possible to make it within 10 minutes or so, because then we can have a more interactive engagement and some time for discussions.
Sure, Professor. We have a deal. I try to speak fast. Usually I do speak fast. I ask for an apology in advance, but we're gonna do it in less than 10 minutes. I'm just gonna jump a few slides. It's okay with you guys. And if you have questions, please make them. I'm just sharing the screen in seconds. Okay. And just to confirm, you guys are seeing, because I can see you right now.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Sure. Well, first
sorry, Andre, but it's not in the presentation mode.
Oh, weird. Because for me it is. Let me try something different. A second. Let me try to reverse order. Okay, trying again. Let me try to share the entire screen. Maybe it's gonna work. Okay. How about now?
Yeah, it worked. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, teacher. Well, I'm very honored to be here and grateful. I try to speak very fast, but I have to quickly introduce the subject because I do understand that some of our guests may have heard of my organization, but probably most of you guys have not. So I'm just quickly introduce myself because it's not important right now, but the point is I have been studying people, technology, and organizations for like 20 years. I'm still learning today. I have already learned something today, to be honest. And I'm trying to be in this middle ground between hardcore management, technology, and people. And it's have been very challenging. The ergonomics studies have helped me a lot to better position myself in this. Talking just very quickly about Oswaldo Cruz Foundation, I think we have Professor Paulo from Rivero. Maybe you have heard of us. I think there has been a lot of collaboration between Oswaldo Cruz Foundation and Rivero University. We are an institution with approximately 120 years of existence in Brazil. Is a very huge institution dedicated to research, teaching, assistant information, and production of strategic assets for health in Brazil. My unit specifically is a factory. We work at, we call it Farmanguinhos. It's a Pharmaceutical Technology Institute is a unit dedicated to the development, research development, and production of drugs and pharmaceuticals for the Brazilian healthcare system. I'm trying to be fast, please, if you have any doubts. So we work like an industrial pharmaceutical company. Our partners and our competition sometimes are exactly the same kind of company that have working big pharma throughout the world, but we are of a public nature. So it's a very interesting place because on one side you have the bureaucracy of the public sector, but on the right side you have the need to innovate and to be competitive. I won't talk about the numbers right now, just to give an idea, and I'm gonna come right into the issue. I will do my best to try to bring us to our reality, okay? We have companies here, we have workers, and it's very difficult for us, especially when people are dedicated to the academy, teachers. It's very difficult to sometimes remind that science is not neutral, that what we have been doing in developing new technology, new innovation, it impacts us. So I just grabbed a few information from International Labour Organization to help us today, but workplace accidents and diseases are a serious issue. We're talking about going to society 5.0 and industry 5.0, but we still have this problem. It's a serious one. In my country, just to give a number, a worker loses his life or her life 1 each 4 hours. So during our conversation in my country today, someone died in Brazil result of an accident, a workplace accident. And I just give you a quick look at the internet very quickly to try to find about Portugal, because I know that Portugal is a much better place than Brazil regarding workplace accidents. But compared to Europe, there is a lot of space to improve. A lot of we can do better, and we are hoping that our research can contribute to this, because workplace accidents is, yes, it's a humane problem, but it's also an ethical one, a sustainability one. And I sometimes I discuss with my colleagues, because if you have, for example, a fire, it's at the same time a health problem, a safety problem, a public image for the company problem, and an environmental problem, all at the same time. So with our research, we're trying to better understand what's happening and try to bring some science to improve our quality of life and our numbers. Just a quick review, Professor Ingrid, I believe she talked about this. So we do have in emerging technologies find its way within companies as we speak, and sometimes in a not exactly organized way, not exactly with the proper scientific knowledge behind it. Just to give one example of our lives, I believe no one today doubts the impact of artificial intelligence and algorithms in our social lives. I believe it's it's impossible to question. But these technologies got to the market. By the same token, we do have technologies regarding immersive technologies coming to companies, and we're still learning about them, about how they interact to us, what are the opportunities and challenges to use those. Regarding training, to be specific, I will try to speak fast. Every company in the world struggles with this, every single one of them. We see people complaining about great expenses in training programs, and in the subsequent moment, in doubt about how can I evaluate if that was effective, if these investments really impactful. There are some models that we can use. I use Kirkpatrick, for example. But the point is, do these technologies can improve these evaluation processes? Can I actually expose my worker to these conditions in a way that it can be safer for him and for the company and for the organization? How can we improve the assessment of the effectiveness of the training programs? And specifically, when you have high-risk industries like construction, oil and gas, and many others, actually, I consider all companies have risks, but just for the sake of the argument, the higher the risk, the more expensive the equipment, the more important is to be sure that that worker is capable of what he's doing. And I'm trying to bring to reality to share with you guys. I think many of us have never worked like this. So, on the right side, just for us to think about it, you can see someone in virtual reality walking on a plank, and the completely different thing that he's perceiving on the left. You know, our technology today, the most basic one, is already capable of creating, like Professor Ingrid talked about, the illusion. But not just the illusion of the eyesight. Our bodies react. If this guy falls from this plank, he will feel like he's falling for real. So there is elements here that we can try to better understand to improve our training programs and evaluation. Another example, this is a company that exists. I found out about I found about them recently. Is trying to create already products and services regarding training. But again, it's very important, very impactful, but we are not sure about what's the better model for training. How can we be sure that the knowledge is being passed on? How can we know that this person is very prepared to deal? How much will cost this? Is it worth it? I have many questions and some answers that you can discuss later. Here, just to give another example. At the left side, you have the worker using the equipment, but on the right side, I would like to show you, this is a ship, okay? This is an example is inside the ship. You can sense almost by looking at this picture, the heights, right? And they will not be immersive yet. But for example, if you're gonna train emergency procedures, you can imagine that it will be very different to explain that person what they must do to actually put the person in the situation so he can react properly. And if he has problems reacting, we can help this person there. And actually, better than that, we can identify problems with our procedures and correct them before the accident happens. Here is another example. We have a lot of this in my country. I trust you guys have as well. We call it confined spaces. We have a bunch of invisible workers in my country that works inside ducts, inside areas, very hazardous areas, all the time, thousands of workers. I suppose in the EU is the same, but usually we don't remember them. These technologies can help us and them actually practice the skills and understand what they have to do, and to be honest, to experience before experiencing for the risks. In this example here, there can be dangerous atmospheres inside, but the worker has to develop a whole bunch of skills to deal with that. I won't explore all the teams. I'll just get a little bit of its slide. We do have some models for evaluation of training, and we're trying to combine these models with the new technologies to see if we can improve, because these models are literally from the last century. So we didn't have the option the options we have today to evaluate this effectiveness. And it's important in the sense that we're not proposing, at least for now, to replace regular training or to replace regular evaluation. We're discussing, the literature points out that mixing up may be the key here. Here we have a little bit of points I would like to address. We do understand, like Professor Ingrid said, the literature is almost ubiquitous in the sense that VR allows for immediate transfer of behavioral skills. Why behavioral skills and not knowledge? Knowledge we can extend today. I'm learning with guys today. Maybe you learn some from me, but we're talking about experiencing the situation and training the skills. It's possible to mean that we do have nowadays heavy machinery and robots interacting with human people in closed spaces. VR can be used to train these procedures in much safer environment. We have 3 presence strategies that I'm not talking about now, but maybe later we can discuss it. Another issue that I'd like to discuss is that when you bring to a risk environment, the literature is almost everybody agrees that the training programs in a very risky place does not guarantee that there will be effectiveness. It's difficult to be effective when I train a worker in a very safe environment with a PowerPoint presentation. And then this worker is actually in an emergency situation that his senses will perceive as very differently. His muscle memory will be different than the situation he's facing. And again, the point of it all points out at this moment that immersive technology in conjunction, with generative learning strategy may be the best. We may adjust the conditions like Professor Ingrid commented, and that can be done eventually dynamically, and that could be very powerful for training. I think we are almost about to end. This is just a list of the factors that can be impactful when we're going to evaluate if that training were effective or not. And I'd like to just address that sometimes we forget that we are individuals. So we're talking about a workforce that is changing in many aspects. We have a management completely different from management like 20 years ago, and technology advancing. So we must adapt. We must understand that what works for me as a training program and evaluation maybe not work for you guys, and vice versa. So in industry has a tendency of everything must be operational procedure, right? Everything must be written down to the detail, and that's been changing in the way that we have to prepare people to deal with situations that will not be written in the manual. So there's potential here to use these immersive technologies. Just something to think about. I have much more to talk about. I think it's the most important part. I do agree with Simon Sinek. If leadership is about being, no, not about being charged, it's about taking care of our charge. Or seja, I mean, today we're discussing science and technology, but what for? What are our concerns? Why is this important? And just to thank you all, guys. I hope I achieved the objectives. Thank you.
Thank you, Andre. You were extremely concise and extremely informative. With this, we have had great 3 speakers speak, and now I think we can have an open discussion. If you have any questions for Andre, please feel free to ask. But if you have any other points to make, so feel free to share your ideas and your questions.
Anisha, I have a practical question for Tulio. I was very interested in what he showed about using the Omniverse, I believe, application to transform 360 video image from a factory, for example, or from a machine into a virtual reality environment. And you know, could Tulio maybe give a little bit more detail on how that is done? I think he mentioned that it would be a mixture of video and also construction drawings, like AutoCAD drawings of the machinery, and how could that be transformed into a simulation dash training experience?
Right. Julio, are you available to answer this question?
Maybe Tulio is offline. But maybe I can discuss a little bit about it. Bosch is working with Omniverse. NVIDIA is a very good platform, and they have this photorealistic solutions. So I don't know their solution in detail, but it seems to me that they're not an immersive video. It is they have a point cloud scanning of the environment, and then after the scanning and the point clouds, they put it in they treat it in the Omniverse to have a photorealistic simulation of their factory, of their environment. So they use this in the NT universe. You had the laser scanning, and you have the photorealism, because it's a very good discussion in the virtual reality community. If you feel more immersed when you have photorealism and you have photorealistic environment, or when you have a 3D model environment, and you have this kind of discussion of avatars, and avatars should be realistic, or you feel more immersed when the avatars are more like a fantasy. So it's a very good discussion. I think that they're not working in that particular example with video. I think it's a photorealistic digital twin. You can find in the YouTube and the internet, of course, very interesting cases in the the automotive company, using the Omniverse in the digital twin of the automotive factory plant. It's very interesting, and I can send you some of these examples.
Thank you, Ingrid.
Let me just add. I think directly from the point cloud, I would believe that would much difficult to put movements to that part. So to cope with CAD models inside the point cloud of the environment. So I would say that the point cloud of the environmental, let's say the old factory, would be good to have, but then to mix this with some photorealistic CAD models in order to have all that movements and control it, or to use 360 degrees video with the machines moving, I would say.
Thank you, that's been helpful.
Any more questions or comments? Please feel free to
Actually, I have a
share.
curiosity, if I may. I apologize if the name is correct. I think it's Mr. Botton or Botton. I apologize. The correct name.
No, you said very well. You said it very well.
You mentioned something that draws my curiosity. You mentioned about turnover, right? You're talking about when you talk about people do not tend to stay in the same company, the same position.
Yeah.
Like before, I think you commented on that. Is that an issue regarding to training, or just a comment that you were making to explain the context? Because depending on the answer, it's possible that is a generational problem.
Well, definitely, Andre. I think there is a mixture of two things which justify the onset of these type of products in training. The first one is that you are talking about a generation, and you are right, it's generational. You're talking about a generation who doesn't look at work like a life tenure. Today you have sociologists saying that the young people look at their activity as a kind of a services provider over their life, and they may have 50, 60, 70 jobs in a lifetime. So that's connected with a lot of things. It's connected with this new culture of wanting things fast, of fear of missing out, of availability of things at the touch of a button. So it's generational. The other one is also generational. It is that digitization of things has become the new natural. So young people will react much better, or say the young generations will react much better, independently of how immersive it is, to things which are in a digital world than to things which are in the real world. The challenge is that the real world of machines and of production will not disappear. We will still need factories, we will still need products. So the whole challenge, and that's why this is such a passionately interesting subject for me as an industrialist, is that we need to find a way to bridge this gap, between the virtual reality and the real world, and achieve better performance, achieve better safety, achieve better knowledge. It's the whole thing, and the whole purpose of these tools is to allow, number one, the calibration of knowledge. So you were talking about getting training which is, let's say, adapted to each person, but it's so equally important to have training which somehow calibrates knowledge. Everybody knows the same thing. That's so important for organizations.
Yeah, standardization. Yeah. That's the point.
Yeah. So standardization of knowledge. And by using these tools, that's why I'm so interested in how to execute this. And I reached out to my friends Anish and Tiago, is how can we actually make this happen? Because the goals are very clear. The results are extremely interesting. The question is how to execute.
Perfect. Thank you for that answer.
Sorry, this was also addressed by Paulo Dias when it's academically a lot of things is running, but when it comes to real world transfer, there are difficulties.
Yeah. In fact, if I can intervene a little bit, I think there are some interesting things that have been said, but it's not so easy in many ways, because you said that we want digitization, and young people will be trying to work in the digital. But at the same time, the problem that we have typically when people use VR is that they want to touch. And that's something that Ingrid was saying. We cannot touch, we don't have haptics. So it's strange because you say we want to go to the digital world, but when we are in the digital world, we want to touch as we do in the real world. So it's not that easy. The digitization may be useful, but there are lots of things that we have to do in the real world that it's not going to solve. And in fact, I have some question for Tullio, but I don't know if he's here, because I'm also working in 3D reconstruction. I've been working with point cloud for some years already. And the question is, the point cloud is very nice to see and to show, but it's not very easy to deal with it. It's very heavy. It's not segmented. You don't want a point cloud. You want a table, you want a robot, you want something there, and the segmentation is not coming there. So very often people do the digitalization, the 3D point cloud, but then they have something that they cannot really deal with and they cannot really use. So I don't know if it's all coming to the digital. I don't think it is, because we still have to work in the real world. And actually, what we would like is the digital to look more like the real world. And I think we have to be a little bit in between. And probably, in my guess, is that one of the main challenges in this area is first to find the niche application in which this is really going to be game-changing. And I think we're not there yet. We have things that are running, we have lots of things in training, but it's not game-changing yet, and it's frustrating in many ways, because people feel that it's very important, but you don't get the things working on the real world. That's why my first question at the beginning. And I would say that the next challenge, then that's something Ingrid already said, is also the touching, because the experiences are really nice. They are very immersive. If in some cases in which the touch is not so important, but if you need to touch, you don't have the haptics and you don't like it that much. And this is really a big challenge that I don't know we're going to address in the future.
Yeah, Paul, we really
Thank you.
really appreciate that, and I think you've hit the nail on the hammer on the nail with the hammer. But there's a couple of things in context that I think we need to appreciate. The first of all is that technology is going to help us rather than make it difficult to us. Every year that passes, we are closer to have perfect tools to do these things. So I think we need to design taking into consideration that the technology is going to be there for us. The second one is that if I look, for example, at the glass industry, which is the one segment we're interested to do something on. I mean, today you are comparing training which is done in classroom where, you know, people don't want to be anymore, and then going directly onto the machine where the environment is very unsafe and any mistake can be either an accident or very expensive. So between what we have today and what we could have in the meantime, there is a huge opportunity. If I say to you that if we have an immersive experience, which could be what Tulio has shown us, which could be actually zooming into a process that can be described from an AutoCAD set of drawings, and we can animate that, we will create the first step for people who are on the shop floor to understand what the hell they're going to do when they actually touch the thing, because they will eventually touch. The question is not how to create a full experience, because that's, as you say, very difficult today, but it's to create a path where when you do get the real experience, you already are 80% of the way. That's the way. Maybe I'm a little bit of a dreamer, but that's the way I see it.
I guess I agree in the way that training is the area in which VR is entering best, because that's where you really get the gain. But I think we can have gain in many other areas, but we still have work to do. The glasses are too big. It takes time. The touching is really a big limitation, and something that I've seen, because I've done also some demonstration here on the shop floor. Actually, we have prototypes running on the shop floor with real operators. We also have something that is always very difficult with technology, is that the people has difficulties in accepting the technology. So if you go to the shop floor and you ask an operator to use the glass, he will say it's very nice, but he's not going to use it. That's also this resistance to the change that's always happening with the technology that we also have to deal with. But I think we're doing the path. The technology is going to improve. But what I really believe also is that this will be very interesting and game-changing in some areas, but it's not going to change everything, because there's lots of things that we do much better in the computer. The example I say, for example, if I have to fill my grids in the Excel, I don't want glasses. I want to do it on my computer. But I'm sure there are applications, and training is one of the very good one where it's already running, in which this will be a big significant difference in the future. And already today, it's already today as well. Thanks, Nancy. It was interesting to change these ideas with you.
Thank you. I see Eleftherios has raised his hand. Eleftherios, maybe.
Yeah. Hi all.
Are you joining us from Greece?
Yes, I'm Eleftherios Anastasovitz, Research Assistant at the Center for Research and Technology, Hellas. Thank you all for this interesting perspectives. I just want to add here that possibly the solution in this full immersive context that we have to walk forward is to develop multisensory approaches in training. I mean, with haptics and this stuff, and also when we are talking about industrial environments, also the sense of smell and olfaction is something that we have to have in mind. So this will maximize the level of immersion for the trainees. That's from me, and thank you all for your presentations here.
Thank you also for your comments.
That's a very interesting discussion, because we have a blend here between the computing perspectives and the psychologist perspective and the engineering and the shop floor perspective. And I think that is great for the human-centric approach that we need for VR and immersive technologies. And I was wondering, because we have some neuroscientists in our research group, and some psychologists and neuropsychologists, and sometimes we underestimate the how our senses, how the human senses will adapt and will interact to react to this new experience. Maybe you're familiar with that experience of the relief of pain. It was about 10 years now. They're using the virtual reality immersion to understand how people react to pain, and the experiment they do with the people who suffered severe they're severe burnt. So they in the hospital, and they put this people in the virtual reality environment that replaces a very freeze environment, a frozen environment. They have a lot of ice, and then it's like a very cold environment, and they're using just the visuals. They're not using maybe the sound, but they're not using any haptics. And when they are immersed in this cold environment, they really feel less pain, and they perceive that they are not, they'll need less opioids. And it's a very interesting experiment on how the visual can influence some other senses. So about the sound and about the feel immersed with the haptics and maybe the olfactory, we will use more and more the visuals that's a little bit consolidate in the virtual reality environment to blend with and to use and to access other senses. So I think it's very interesting, and it shows that we need to blend our knowledge background to have a more feasible and a more effective virtual reality based training. I think it's interesting, this discussion.
Thank you very much, Ingrid. So I think we had a great discussion today, but more than that, I think we are coming from different areas and points of view, but we are all very much interested in research in extended reality. So I'll be making a WhatsApp group, and I'll be sending all of you an invite link, just for those of you who want to join and stay in touch, so that we can keep sharing our research findings and connect with each other more easily. Nevertheless, it was really great to have you all together on this platform. So if anyone else, before we close, if anyone wants to add anything, please go ahead.
Just thank you so much for organizing this, Anish.
Thank you very much.
I want to thank you the organizers, and thank you the audience, and thank you for the interesting questions. So it was a very relevant discussions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all to join us on this. It was a really open session, which is really good to have open discussions. Thank you. Anish, please.
Thank you. So I'll be sharing you with the link of the WhatsApp by email, as well as a recording of this entire session. You will get it soon.
I got a message from Tulio. He apologized because his computer came down. So he asked you to put the questions through. We write for him, and they will answer the questions. Thank you.
Yeah, but I'll invite Tulio also to join our group. That could be one way that we can continue the discussions over the chat post this session.
Sure, great.
Anish, about the video you will put on this group afterwards.
Yeah, I'll be sending it by email. I actually
emails
have the
that we have.
WhatsApp. Yeah, I already have the WhatsApp link, so let me just paste it here. For those of you, it's handy. Otherwise, I'll be sending it by email also. So I have just put it on the chat group, the link for the WhatsApp. So if you all join, then we can stay in touch. Otherwise, I'll be messaging it also by email to everyone.
Yeah, thank you all for the nice talk and the presentation.
And
Thank
it was
you,
also
thank
great
you.
to know people also from not only from foreigner countries, but also from Portugal, as Paulo from South Aveiro, who intervened very positively on these discussions. Thank you, thank you. So that's all for
Bye-bye.
today. Okay, bye bye. See you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye bye.